Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Levi Nolasco. I'm a realtor with Keller Realty here in sunny Las Cruces, New Mexico. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of Las Cruces. These are a lot of questions that I get asked from people that come to visit. And towards the end of the video, I want to go over a little bit of our lifestyle and what you can expect if you move to Las Cruces. I'm going to take a moment to let you know that for some reason on YouTube, I'm not able to respond to comments. So I see your comments and I try to respond to them, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't stick. So please feel free to email me at levinm@kw.com if you have any questions or need anything. I was with a buyer that came from out of state the other day, and he was really surprised to find that I sell quite a bit of real estate here in Las Cruces. And I just wanted to let you know that I don't just make videos. Currently this year, I've sold 5 times more than the average agent has in the United States. So I do sell quite a bit of real estate, and I mainly work with buyers at the moment, thanks to this YouTube channel and thanks to you for watching again. I also like to mention that I've sold every single listing that I've ever signed, and I'm very proud of that. So I do sell a lot of real estate here in Las Cruces, and I would love to help you out if you're interested in making a move to the area. So you know it's a really tough market and it's hard for buyers to get their offers accepted. I have a whole system geared for out-of-state buyers to help them buy homes. For the most part, the offers that we write get accepted. Here are a few things that I think you should know about Las Cruces, and if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I really love the history of the area and New Mexico in general. So I thought that we should start at the beginning. I took a lot of the information I'm about to go over with you off of the Visit Las Cruces website and a few other sites that had some information on it. Las Cruces is in the southern part of the state, located about 30 minutes from El Paso, and we're probably about 40-something miles from Mexico. I refer to Las Cruces as Baja, New Mexico, because I feel that we're so far removed from the northern part of the state, starting with culture, with laws. With Las Cruces is kind of left to our own devices, and we don't have a lot of overwatch, which is one of the reasons why I really love living here. I don't want Santa Fe and Albuquerque, putting parking meters or really paying much attention to us, as bad as that sounds, except for our schools. It does sometimes feel like we're like the redheaded stepchild and we don't get a lot of attention, but again, that's another reason why I really love the Southwest and I really, really love Las Cruces, is because it still has a little bit of that Wild West charm. And what I mean by that is people kind of let you do what you want to do, they let you be. You don't have people looking into every single thing that you're doing. Like California, you're not getting taxed on every single thing you enjoy. It just feels really freeing. I want to say, I guess, pioneer-esque, but that doesn't really fit. So let's start about 600 million years ago. New Mexico at the time was covered by a sea, so everything you see behind me and all the visual shots I'm going to show you were all underwater. And this is evident by how many fossils can be found in the area. There's a lot of cool places out in southern New Mexico that you can go fossil searching. And I remember that my grandpa and I went up on, I believe, Gold Gulch Road in Silver City to look for some fossils. And we found actually quite a few, I guess, old sea creatures, old shelled sea creatures, which is pretty cool. And a few years ago, maybe it was 5 or 6 years ago, they found a woolly mammoth fossil near the Organ Mountain. We also have the Prehistoric Trackways National Monument, which is directly behind me and has footprints from older animals and reptiles that lived here before we did, which I think is really cool. And it's also a recreation area, so if you have a super modified Jeep or off-road vehicle, you can take it out here. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend taking just a normal car out here because it will rip every part of your undercarriage off of your car. But you can also ride motorcycles and take hikes out here. So the Prehistoric Trackways National Monument is just one of my favorite places to go and take a look back at history. The oldest human footprints have been found in North America in white sands. So that's only, I think, about maybe an hour to an hour and a half away from where I'm standing right now. So tons of interesting history comes from here in New Mexico, and I'm just really excited about that. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I always point out volcanic activity, since that's what's created a lot of the landscape around us. Picacho Peak, again, is right behind me, is my favorite volcano, I think, by far. My favorite inactive volcano, let me put it that way. It also created, if you can see, it's a bit sunny behind me, it also created the Organ Mountains. And if you saw the video that I did on the City of Rocks, that was created by volcanic activity as well. So 600 million years ago, lots of volcanic activity going on. And something I'd like to point out is that the Oregon Mountains are actually the tip of the Rocky Mountains. So that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that for a long time, and I just thought that was a really fun fact. Over 400 years ago, Don Juan de Oñate was sent by the King of Spain to look for gold. And he was also part of the, I guess the team or whoever it was that led the expedition that created the El Camino Real Trail, which I did feature on one of my downtown videos. A lot of culture, tradition, and trade was done through the Camino Real Trail, so I think that's really cool. And that's now a Mesquite or Mesquite Street, which has some restaurants and some coffee shops on it. You can do some more research on Don Juan de Oñate. We used to have a high school named after him, but it was recently changed. Oñate was kind of a brutal guy. The actual city of Las Cruces itself was established in 1849. United States Army Lieutenant Veloz Bennett Sackett, which I'm guarantee I'm not saying that correctly, was tasked with mapping out an area for town. He roped and staked off about 84 blocks for this new town, which was called Doña Ana at the time. For the name of Las Cruces, one theory suggests that during the 18th century, a bishop, a priest, and a Mexican army colonel, a captain, 4 trappers, and 4 choir boys were attacked near the Rio Grande, and only one boy survived. Now, crosses were erected in their honor, and the name El Pueblo de Jardín, the city of the Garden of Crosses, evolved. Other stories say that many crosses were erected due to Apache raids, and that one I kind of feel like is probably a little bit more accurate than the whole priest story. There is an Apache pass, and I believe I'm standing pretty close to it, where back in the day, if you were to cross this path, you would get killed. And I actually found a gentleman who does LiDAR with his drone, and he found a forearm bone with a arrowhead sticking out of it up in this area somewhere. And I'm super thankful to have been born in 1986 after hearing kind of our rough start here in Las Cruces. And another story for how Las Cruces got our name, that a group of 40 travelers came down from Taos, were killed as soon as they reached Las Cruces. I don't know, I'll have to research that a little bit more, but most people feel that Las Cruces just means the crosses because there's access to different parts of the country just throughout our city. It has a main access point to the north, to the west, and to the east, as well as the south. After reading all the theories, we can estimate that some sort of death led to the 3 crosses, but nowadays it just makes a lot more sense that 3 crosses just means the crosses, meaning that you can get to any part of the country from Las Cruces. To give you an example of the crosses, one of them is going to be I-10, which of course runs from Los Angeles through Las Cruces. We have I-25 that'll take you from Las Cruces past Albuquerque and up to the northern part of the United States, and Highway 70, which takes you east. Las Cruces is also a major hub to about 10 surrounding towns and cities within a 2-hour distance, including my hometown of Silver City, which is a nice mixture of hippies, cowboys, and most recently, impatient drivers from the East Coast. I make my distinction of being centrally located for a few reasons. When I was living out in Seattle, I felt incredibly isolated. Of course, there's Tacoma, and you have Bellingham and a few different cities that you can drive through within, a couple hours, but that was really it. It would take 4 or 5 hours to get to Boise, and any other town or city you'd really have to get on a flight. So that felt incredibly isolating, whereas here in Las Cruces, it feels very freeing, like you can just get up in the morning and go to one of the 10 surrounding towns, or further if you want to, and still be back on the same day. So I think that's a really big benefit and a plus of living out here in beautiful Las Cruces. As of the most recent data, we have 103,000 residents in Las Cruces and about 215,000 in the county. Now, to me, that's pretty incredible because when I was in college here in 2010, the population of Las Cruces was 69,000. So we are the fastest growing city in New Mexico, and you can definitely feel it if you've been here for a while, but we still have that small town charm, good relationship people, and that slower pace of life. And just to give you an idea on the size of Las Cruces, because again, a lot of my customers that come and fly into Las Cruces, having never been here, are really surprised to see the size and the expansion of the city. So it's not a tiny little dusty podunk town. We actually do have quite a bit of city. So to put it into perspective, Las Cruces is about 77 square miles and is almost 1/3 the size of the city of Chicago, Illinois. Las Cruces is just around 4,000 feet in elevation. We are kind of the high desert. If you're thinking of landscapes such as, Tucson, Phoenix, areas like that, those are at, I believe, around 2,000 feet in elevation. Our landscape is definitely not the same. We have a bit of a more lush landscape, as you can see, and this is during, no rain for the last couple months. Just wait for the summer. The entire valley, everywhere in Las Cruces, greens up, and it becomes incredibly beautiful and amazing. I always tell people it reminds me of Jurassic Park. Our main industry here in Las Cruces is the aerospace industry. We have NASA, we have White Sands Missile Range, and we have the spaceport. And again, it's the only spaceport in the United States, and we're the only city that has enough room to host a spaceport. So last I checked, which was 2 years ago, during a speech, there was 63 companies operating out of the spaceport here in Las Cruces. So you could guarantee that there's quite a bit more. And from what I understand, a lot of the tests they're doing are high altitude tests, not exactly going into space, but then again, you have Virgin Galactic, which will take you into space here, hopefully in October. And I say hopefully because I purchased a bunch of their stock and I'm just waiting for them to get operational. We also have a large hospitality industry, and that's mainly due to being one of the top 10 retirement towns in the United States, as well as a large college city. And a lot of the students that go to New Mexico State, they aren't from Las Cruces. So I believe last I checked, there was 25,000 students, and a lot of them come in from out of state. So the good thing about that is it creates a lot of restaurants and kind of some nightlife and things to do for people that want to get out. Then in the summer, when the school gets out of session or lets out of session, it's really nice because you can feel the town kind of quiet down a little bit, traffic eases up a little bit, and it's just a little break from, I guess, having so many people in the city. Talking about employment again, I believe in New Mexico, the top employer is going to be the government. And of course we have Sandia Labs. There's a whole host of other defense contractors and things that we have out here. So we have a few noticeable mountain ranges here in Las Cruces. We're going to have the Doña Ana mountain range, of course the Oregon mountain range, which is the one that you'll see anytime you look up Las Cruces. And we have the Robledos. And that's going to be in the immediate vicinity of Las Cruces. So wherever you're standing in the city, those are going to be the mountains that you'll see immediately. There are some mountains up in El Paso, like the Franklin Mountains. There's some in Deming that you can see on a clear day. Oh, and also I want to mention right now, since we're talking about clear day, all of the haze behind me is coming from that big fire that's going on here in New Mexico. But it's usually pretty clear out here. Now let's talk distance to surrounding areas. So I always tell you that it's very easy to get out of Las Cruces and to take a day trip and just, get away from the norms. So I did some calculations, and El Paso is about 30 minutes away, and that's just to the, border or state line of the actual city of El Paso. Cloudcroft is about an hour and 20 minutes away, and Cloudcroft is about 7,000 feet in elevations. You're gonna have very tall pine trees, more of like a Colorado look with really big mountains. It's a really beautiful area, and it's great for people that love to stargaze. You then have Ruidoso, which is about 2 hours away to 2.5 hours, depending on how fast you drive. Ruidoso is great because they have the Ruidoso Downs, and they have a casino, a resort, and horse racing, and also skiing and snowboarding during the winter seasons. Ruidoso is a really fun town and a really easy getaway if you're looking for something completely different than Las Cruces just for a day or two. Silver City is about 93 miles away. Silver City is a really cool town. It's, like I said, a lot of artists are there. There's a couple famous artists that do work out of Silver City. They have the Gila bike race, which is really popular, the Blues Fest, just a really cool, eclectic town. It's a very unique town. I haven't been to a town of that size that has that much culture that I can think of in recent memory. Then you have Deming, which is about 50 miles away, and to get to Silver City, you have to pass through Deming. I've sold a couple properties in Deming, and it is truly the Wild West. I know that they haven't had a building inspector in the last 3 years, so I don't know how to really sell real estate out there without a building inspector, but they get by and they make it work. You then have Albuquerque, which is going to be the largest city in New Mexico, and that's about 3 hours away. And you have Tucson in Arizona, which is about 4 hours away. Now, as for our population makeup, I last read that Las Cruces is about 58% Hispanic. You don't have to speak Spanish to live here. I know very little Spanish. As everybody says, I can understand it but can't really speak it. So you can get around perfectly fine in Las Cruces without speaking Spanish. If you live in El Paso, it's a little bit of a different story. Usually I have to try my Spanish out when I go visit El Paso. It still works and gets me by, but it's not a requirement to know Spanish to live here in Las Cruces. So now let's talk about something that's really important and something you're probably waiting to hear about, is the lifestyle of Las Cruces. One thing I can say is that we really enjoy a laid-back lifestyle. And there's no other place I've been to in the United States or any place I've traveled abroad that has such a laid-back lifestyle like Las Cruces does. Now you're probably thinking, you know, how does the mañana lifestyle translate into everyday living? For instance, one thing I can think of is traffic. In big cities, I remember as soon as the light turns green, people were honking at you right away. So you barely had time to take your foot off the brake and put it on the gas before you get honked at. In Las Cruces, people will wait up to 5 seconds before going on the green light and nobody honks. Sometimes I do get frustrated with that, but I'm not gonna give in to the whole we need to do everything immediately lifestyle. I wanna keep Las Cruces like it is right now. So I give people 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, I may give a little honk, or if I notice they're looking at their phone, I'll give them a little honk. You know, when we first moved back here from Los Angeles, I was trying to keep the Los Angeles mentality, and it lasted for about a week, but mainly the only thing that really does is annoys you and the people around you. If you're leaving Los Angeles, leave the lifestyle with you. There's really, you know, a lot of times that's why we leave big cities, is because of the lifestyle that it provides. We don't want to carry that with us into the next town. So just be forewarned, we love our laid-back lifestyle. I'm sure you will too if that's what you're looking for. And it definitely decreases your stress levels, gives you more time to focus on things that you really enjoy, and just all around makes a better or a higher quality of life. You know, I like to tell a story about my dad, and he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and I really do mean that. I'm not just saying that because he's my dad. He is a really nice person and very funny, positive outlook on life, very similar to me. Well, I'm very similar to him. One time he was in line in Silver City at the post office, and this person behind him was talking about how New Mexicans are very slow and laid. I guess I wouldn't say, she didn't say laid back, but everything was just slow and not to her standards. So my dad turns around and yells at this person to get the f out of our city if they don't like our pace of lifestyle or our quality of life. That just goes to show you that we are very nice people here in New Mexico, but we are very protective of our culture and of our lifestyle. So, you know, moving here, it is going to be an adjustment if you're coming from a big city. In my experience, it takes about a month or so to get used to the slower pace of life. Sometimes it drives people crazy, but eventually everyone gets over it. And then as soon as you go back to another city, the only thing you want to do is turn around and come back to Las Cruces and relax. And to elaborate a little bit more on our lifestyle, something that I really love, and another reason why I moved back, is because Las Cruces is very focused on relationships and friendships. To be honest, New Mexico isn't the wealthiest state in the United States. So I think that we've had to rely on humor and also, you know, just our friendships. So most of the time in Las Cruces, it's about meeting up with people that you like, having coffee with people that you like, meeting new people, going on bike rides with new people, having dinners, doing things like that. That's really at the core of our culture, I think. It's family and friends and community, and that's what I really love. You know, we all have a stake in this city. The day that Las Cruces becomes a city that's a rush to get everywhere, we start getting parking meters and things like that, is the day that I start looking for a smaller city that, you know, that still has that laid-back lifestyle. And I do also want to tell you a little bit about our Wild West roots and how they're still prevalent in present day. A few years ago when I was in college, the city decided to put up red light cameras so that we can start getting tickets for running red lights, which happens here and there, but it's not really, you know, something that you see every day. So they put up these red light cameras and people started running them over. So then they would come back out, put the red light cameras back up and reinstall them. Next day they'd be run over. Do the same thing next day it's run over. So we're kind of like, you know, we don't want people looking at us for every single thing that we do. And I just thought it was so funny and so Las Cruces to keep on running down those red light cameras, and eventually the city stopped putting them back up. And I guarantee if the city did that again now, the same thing would happen. And at that point, I'd probably buy a truck with a nice bumper guard on it. Some big difference that I've noticed out here as well is that, you know, in Los Angeles, I was introduced by my name and then immediately after my job title. So it was all kind of about career, and that was your identity. What do you do for work? That's who you are as a person. In Las Cruces, it's definitely not like that. I've never been introduced by what I do as a person. I, of course, have to bring that up myself. As a realtor, we have to bring up that we're realtors every chance we get, just like I'm doing right now. But I really love that that's not a part of the culture out here. It doesn't matter where you work, doesn't matter where you came from, doesn't matter if you have a trust fund. It's just who you are as a person and how do you treat people. Now, one thing I will say is it does take a little longer to get goods and services out here. I mainly order everything online now, and I've just gotten used to the wait period. We don't have, as far as I know, Amazon same-day delivery like they did in Los Angeles. But again, that's stuff I really don't care about anymore. If there's something I need immediately, I'll just hop on over to El Paso and pick it up. But in the last, 4 years that I've been back, I've never had to do that. Except, as I mentioned in my last video, those emergencies when you need to eat Korean barbecue, I'll hop on over to the east side of El Paso and get some authentic Korean barbecue from there. When I originally created this channel, I wrote down the mission statement that I would show my authentic representation of living life through my eyes here in Las Cruces, and by doing so, I'll attract like-minded people that want the same thing, and hopefully they'll hire me as their realtor. So, in that tradition of shooting you straight, I'll tell you some things that I don't like. A lot of them are going to be driving related. I just have to say we have some of the nicest people I think in the world and the most genuine and caring people in the world. New Mexico doesn't have the best drivers, but I would say New Mexico has better drivers than Arizona drivers for sure, and actually better drivers than the drivers in Seattle, in my experience. A few things that I don't like, or that kind of, not really aggravate me, but just kind of rub me the wrong way. For some reason, people in Las Cruces leave like 3 car lengths between their car and the stoplight, or the car in front of them and their car. So now that we're getting a little busier with traffic, it's starting to leave people in the intersection, way far behind them. It happens all the time, and I really don't understand it. I've always just wanted to pull somebody over and ask them why they leave so much space in between. But again, that's just me nitpicking, but truthfully, that kind of bugs me. The next item that I'm not a huge fan of is that, again, as a growing city, we're getting new traffic patterns and traffic signals and things like that. People don't know how to merge out here. So, of course, if you're from a city, you know that you merge at the actual merging point. That way, traffic keeps on flowing smoothly, and you go in sort of like like you're folding cards, like one car after the other. You just kind of alternate and get into line. In Las Cruces, some people will block the lane all the way towards the merge point. So then everybody has to merge at the very back, and then that creates traffic that goes really, really far back. And I don't think they know that I don't think they're doing it on purpose, but I don't think they understand how merging actually works. So as a growing city, that's definitely going to have to be figured out. And there is this guy, I always joke around with my fiance, there's this guy that stands on the corner of Loman and Solano, and he has a loudspeaker and he's preaching about, your sins and everything that you've done wrong. And I thought about asking him if I can share the microphone with him and just tell people, how to merge, and that, stop giving 3 car lengths between you and the stoplight so your fellow driver behind you isn't stuck in the middle of a intersection. Something else I want to mention too, that I think is important, is that with the slower pace of life comes slower response times on things like job applications. So I remember I applied for a few jobs when I first moved to Las Cruces, and I went to school. I was out here for 4 years, and I moved up to Seattle. When I get to Seattle, I got a call back from one of the jobs that I applied to, and I just joked with them, but I'm like, why did it take 4 years for you to reach back out to me? But a lot of people find that frustration, and when you do need a job, that is frustrating. But what I do, and what I've always done as a kid, is I'll go back and bug people every single day. So I'll turn in the application one day, the next day I'll go by the office, the next day I'll go by the office, the next day I'll go by the office, and really, just kind of push people to give me a response. So that is one area where I can be, I guess, against the mañana attitude. But that's just something to know. The higher level you are of employee, or your qualifications, I think the faster you'll probably get a call back, especially if you're a government worker, or you're applying to like White Sands or anything like that. Well, and especially applying for jobs right now during COVID, almost everybody has their hiring signs up, so it might be a different story now altogether. I really want to thank you again for watching my videos. It means a lot to me. Like I said before, I did not start this channel to turn it into like a lead generating business for real estate, but it's kind of taken on its own thing, and it's definitely worked very well. So I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your viewerships. So if you'd like to see more, please feel free to like and subscribe. And in terms of real estate, I really do love what I do. I think I'm one of the lucky people that's actually found something that they're super passionate and obsessive about. I couldn't have asked for a better career, and I really love what I'm doing. I'm also really good at it, and I don't mean to say that just to be braggy, but I mean, I'm good at it. I love what I do. So if you are looking for a home in Las Cruces, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, please consider me. I'd love to interview with you to see if we're a good match and help you find or sell your next house. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.